the principal of Matungo High School, the teachers, and of course all the students who have been conducted today, head boys and head girls, and also prefects. One of the things I learned very quickly, the first time I went to India was in 2004, and they're very good at talking. They're also very good at putting you up on a pedestal. So I kind of felt the same with the principal. There's always a catch after that. So, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me much pleasure to be here. Firstly, I'd like to start off by saying I sincerely apologize for the delay. It's actually my fault because the timing wrong, so I'm sorry you had to wait for half an hour. I think your principal actually has said a lot of the things that I did want to say myself in respect of leadership. But what I'd like to highlight very quickly is in particular in regards to the quotes, that one of the key important issues as any leader is that you have to have humility. Personally, I have seen so many people who have held positions of leadership in the past 10 years, whether it's civil servants, whether it's politicians, or whether it's any other position that may actually have some form of authority. And because they have, over a period of time, lacked humility, they have actually faltered along the way. Humility or lack of it also means that you cannot keep abreast of what is happening in your society. The Fiji, as the principal mentioned about 30, 40 years ago, is completely different to what it is today. Today, 69.4% of the entire Fijian population is below the age of 40. Nearly 70% of the population is below the age of 40. So if you take that as a yardstick, these students here have reached middle age. That's the reality. The reality in Fiji is that 30 years ago there were no mobile phones. In fact, only 10 years ago there was only one mobile phone company in Fiji. And those of you who know about mobile phones, in those days, to make a call, and the students here would probably be surprised because they probably were in primary school or probably not born at that stage. The cost of one telephone call was 99 cents a unit. Today we have 7 up, we have 5 up. None of that existed. A text message costs 50 cents. Today text messages cost a few cents only. That's the reality. The reality that the principals and the students, and the teachers, need to deal with. In those days, students did not have mobile phones. Today they have mobile phones. 450,000 mobile phones in Fiji in use today are smartphones. So in other words, if something is happening today, you can take a photograph of it, put it on Facebook, put it on Twitter, put it on your internet, whatever the case may be. The situation has completely changed. So as leaders, you also need to be aware of what is happening around you. As leaders, you need to be able to know or keep a pulse, a finger on the pulse of what the people around you are thinking, what they're doing. You may not always know that. A teacher may not always necessarily know what all the students in their class may be thinking. They may be sitting there nodding their heads, but they're probably thinking about something else. In the same way as prefects, you do not know what the other students are thinking about. You need to be able to get into their heads. You need to be able to understand where they're coming from. And that's precisely what your principal is actually alluding to. So the reality of leadership is that it is something that you need to be able to work upon. I just came back from India 2 days ago, and I was at one of the airports, and I picked up a book which caught my eye, and this book says, Living with Honor. But what really got to me, it says, it is better to be honorable than to be honored. It is better to be honorable than to be honored. How many times have we said that it's a reality You know, when some people pass away, some people die, somebody said, yeah, but the fellow's a cook. Where's the con man? Or he used to beat up his wife a lot. That is how you will be remembered. So it's better to live that life where people are able to respect you whilst you are living. It is better to do that than to be remembered, or we sometimes have also in our country, in other countries, where people will, maybe there might be a public holiday for somebody who's died, or we go to the Rengu, or we go to the funeral. So because he's died, we're going to that because he held a particular public position. But how many of us actually sincerely going to that? Are we going to that because everybody else is going to it? Or are we going to it because we actually sympathize or empathize with that person? And that's the reality. So it requires a lot of inward reflection. And I felt the need to be able to read some of these things that actually was in this book, which I think captures a lot of what I wanted to say. And it says here, as responsible adults, includes all of you, we are called upon to assume leadership roles in our day-to-day lives. Directly or indirectly, actively or passively, we all influence someone, somewhere, in some manner, some shape or some form, for the better or for the worse. We do that in our homes, mothers, fathers, we all are leaders. Followers have the responsibility to expect higher standards from the leaders. The students who you will be in charge of, they expect you to follow a particular level of behavior, a particular level of standard. There's no point in you enforcing what the principal tells you to enforce, but if you yourself don't do that, you won't have any credibility. In the same way, if the mother says to the child, do not do X, Y, Z, but she herself does it, the authority of the mother is gone. The same thing with the father. Strong commitment to principal action and service is the responsibility of every person. The willingness to address fundamental issues and then make every effort to live by the answers is what makes a great leader great. Exactly what the principal said. There are times you need to make decisions that may not necessarily be popular, may not necessarily be something that everybody thinks is great, but in fact it is the right decision. It is the right decision because it is a principal decision. And I'm glad they acknowledge what we are trying to do in government too, but I don't want to make a political speech. But the reality is that many changes have taken place in Fiji because a principal position has been taken, where you actually set a vision. You want to be able to see your leadership, your country, the people that you want to empower, where will they be in 10 years' time? You can always make very popular choices, be very popular with everybody today, make the right noises today, but it's only up to your nose. It's not necessarily the right decision for the long term. Similarly, you need to be able to understand that. I mean, these students here, some of them in 5 years could be in Parliament, who knows? 10 years time they could be ministers, who knows? So the reality also is that we have to be able to learn to respect people. I remember a few years ago, this is going back a long, long time ago, about 30 years ago, I remember I was at the mosque, and there were some kids in the background playing, making noises, and I turned around and I scolded them. That's not the right thing to do. I should have been a lot more loving in my approach. And I scolded them. And a few years later, I was driving down the road, and the police officer stopped me because I was speeding with one of those kids. He was in a position of authority. I'm not saying that he wielded that authority against me in a negative manner. But the fact of the matter is, the penny dropped in my head. And I thought to myself, bloody hell, I wonder if this guy's going to book me now because I yelled at him at the mosque. You see, they told me a lot of things about myself. They told me a lot of things about him too. He kind of looked at me and smirked. I thought, I got you. But I'm not going to do anything to you because, it's okay. And I looked at him and I thought, Baga, if this guy is going to book me because I scolded him, I wonder if he's going to treat me the same as everybody else. Is he going to take out that personal frustration on me? So the point of that lesson is, and this is something I learned very quickly, is that as leaders also, as individuals also, we must always take every life experience and learn from it. Everything teaches us. And therefore it goes back to the whole notion of being humble. You have to be humble. In the same way when we recruit lawyers in the AG's chambers, the first thing that I tell the lawyers, please, you've just done your law degree, you've been admitted to the High Court of Fiji. You start from scratch now. You know nothing now. You have to start on a clean slate. And one way you can become a very good lawyer is continuously ask questions. You don't know anything, a group of lawyers are being addressed. You don't know anything, put up your hand or say, excuse me, I don't know. Can you please explain to me? Because the day you start feeling matua about asking a question, that's the day you start faltering. You should never feel shy to say to somebody, I don't know, please explain to me. I do that too today. I asked the junior lawyers if they'd been to court about something, there may be some technical matter, I'll ask them. Because it also then creates a sense of empowerment for them. They say, okay, the Attorney General is asking me a question, I'm going to tell you, because I know more than him. And the other way around too, I'm learning too. It's creating that learning environment. But remember, as human beings, it has been said we can never know everything, even until the day we die. The only entity that knows everything is God. We do not have full knowledge. So there's a saying that says, seek knowledge until the day you die. That's the reason why you have the saying. So I think the reality, ladies and gentlemen, is that as leaders, we need to, and I've emphasized quite a lot, it says, people who let success go to their heads are resented. Leaders should look for cooperation and goodwill rather than the acknowledgement of their superiority. And I would say the acknowledgement of the authority. In Fiji, we've seen a lot of people who hold positions of authority. They don't deserve that. They don't necessarily have the buy-in of the people. You can go to many places, and I've even said to some of my staff, if you have to write something that's really firm, if you have to tell somebody that, sorry, that we're not going to accept your application, you can write it in a nice way. You can tell it in a nice way. Same way you go overseas, some people, if they want to book you for traffic infringement, they'll come to you saying, good morning, sir. This is the speedometer. You preached. Oh, your child is very beautiful. Here's the ticket. And the person getting the ticket will say, thank you very much. There's ways and means of doing things. There's ways and means of knowing who you are dealing with. So it is very, very important to be able to understand that. I mean, this gentleman who wrote this book, he actually went very far, and he said, vanity, which is the opposite of humility, is false pride. False pride makes people ridiculous. Sincere praise to somebody with low self-esteem brings a swollen head that is vanity. Vanity shuts the doors on help and leaves the curtains open to the display of stupidity. That is very, very true. And that is exactly what we must follow. There's a number of things here, and I'd love to share this book, but of course for copyright purposes I'm not going to photocopy it and give it. But I can give you the IBA number. And I've said to the what your principal actually said. We had some discussion some time back. He said, what is good leadership? And I'll tell you what this gentleman calls pseudo-leaders and great leaders. A pseudo-leader believes in position. The opposite of that for the great leader is action. A pseudo-leader will want control. The great leader will want support. A pseudo-leader will always exert authority. The great leader will say, I will mentor you. I will teach you. Pseudo-leader will always talk. The great leader will always listen. Pseudo-leader will tell. The great leader will always ask. The pseudo-leader will always want to keep power. The great leader will always want to empower other people around them. I could go on about this, ladies and gentlemen, but I think the point of the matter is that, as more specifically for those of the students here today, you obviously have been given a great responsibility, a great honor, but you must also enjoy it. It is an opportunity for you to learn. It is an opportunity for you to be able to work together with your fellow students. The school principal, the student council, various other teachers who've been instrumental in your appointment and bestowed a particular level of trust on you. And we look forward to you fulfilling the trust in the best of your ability. And as I've said always to parents too, if I could just be part of it, thought about, there's always a trend in Fiji where at one stage everybody wanted their children to become lawyers. Then they wanted doctors. Then they wanted engineers. They wanted accountants. Please, let your children pursue whichever subject area they want to. Because, as the principal is saying, you must be different. They will only become different if they pursue something that they feel very passionate about. If your daughter wants to become a mechanic, let her become a mechanic. Because she'll become a good mechanic. If your daughter wants to become an engineer, let her become an engineer. Because she'll become a good engineer. She'll have the passion for it. So, as parents, as a community, as a society, we need to be able to offer that. We need to be able to offer that space for our children. And similarly, you as prefects will need to be able to offer that space to those people who will be working together with to make Natabo High School a great high school. In fact, when I was in class 1, we just lived down the road next to the police station over here. Natabo High School was, as the principal said, a very prestigious school. And I'm sure that that level of prestige is still being carried today. And with your leadership, you'll be able to do a lot better than what they've done in the past. And I wish you good afternoon.
Leaders say to the school principal, #1, Samuel Ayala. And #2, Nehasan. She is from Nakalau, Sambela. But the day is from Soviet, Maui.